Good afternoon, fellow YouTubers. Hey. So I wanted to talk today a little bit about helmets, motorcycle helmets. But before I went into that, I just wanted to mention something about Harley-Davidson dealerships. As you know, they'll take the same gear that you could get at a much cheaper shop and mark it up. So they work a deal with that agency and they have their brand put on it, and I think you basically end up paying around 50% more. So it happens with their filters, it happens with their tires, it happens with the gear that you buy there. So I love Cycle Gear. I have a Cycle Gear less than a mile down the street here, and I'm just in love with the place. It's very hard not to fall in love with it if you're a motorcyclist and you don't want to be just blowing money unnecessarily. So I can get like a good pair of leather gloves for about $38 down there. Same pair of gloves, you went to the Harley dealership, I think you'd be paying at least 68, 70 plus. So if you really got to have that Harley insignia on everything, you're going to be spending a hell of a lot more money when all is said and done. Case in point, this new tire I just bought. So I'm walking my dog through the neighborhood and I meet this guy Jared, and he's got a nice Victory, like that weird kind of green color they have, and it's the same year as my bike, 2016. So we start talking. And around 30 minutes into the conversation, I mentioned, that I got to get a new tire, and they're quoting me $250 for a Dunlop. It was only 9 months ago that I paid $209 for a brand new Dunlop. So $250 for a tire, and then when the labor is done, it's going to be over $350, maybe even over $380, God knows. So I mentioned this to him, and he says, "Oh, I never get my tires at dealerships. I go to Cycle Gear." So I called Cycle Gear and I asked for a quote on a Dunlop with my measurements, and it's $150 as opposed to $250. The only difference is right here. You have in between Dunlop, or right, you got a little Harley Davidson insignia right about here. So if you want to pay $100 more to get that little insignia, well then, by all means, have at it. So I did follow the advice of Chuck Gines and went to Wix and bought one of those filters that Harley rebrands and charges probably like 40% more. But I want to talk to you about helmets. Because I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and it was kind of like an old school biker channel, and they said that the only thing that a full face helmet does is keep your face pretty for the open casket. And there's an idea behind that statement, and that idea is, if you're going to be traveling fast, like on freeways, and you have an accident, you're pretty much going to be dead, whether you got a full face helmet on or you don't. So just now, I just did a little bit of research, and there is a study out there that says that motorcycles are 37% effective in saving your life, and they are 67% effective in keeping your brain from having traumatic brain injury, to where you might be drooling, you can't talk, I don't know. So that being said, I do like to have some of that feeling of being connected with the motorcycle on the road. So that's why when it's hot like it is now in summer, I normally wear my half helmet. Okay, so half helmets are a great way to go, because this is a Bell, it's DOT approved, and it's not like one of those cheap skid lids that's not DOT approved and is basically going to offer you no protection. So it doesn't go that far back down the head. but you've got this thing that really helps keep it on firm, and you got a little dial so that you can just make sure it's nice and snug. Obviously, having a helmet that fits well is very, very important if you get in an accident. So I really enjoy that little part here. And then also you have this little warm thing that you can zip in here to keep your ears warm. And it buttons into this part up here, and it zips in around here, so it's really in there nice and secure. So what are all the options? You got the option of no helmet, you got the option of half helmet, you got the option of 3/4 helmet, and you have the option of a full face helmet. But within all of these, there's varying degrees of safety and protection. So I do kind of like those statistics from that research, that you're 67% less likely to have brain injury if you're wearing a helmet. And that even includes, I think, these half helmets. Now, it's summertime, and I do enjoy that feeling of being kind of just out in the open, to where, you know, you pull up next to a pretty girl in a car, you can just say, hey, isn't it a great day? How are you? You know, or just being able to sense the wind in your face. I don't have a shield. I don't a windshield on my bike. I don't have, I like these helmets where you have your ears exposed and your face exposed. But obviously it's not as safe. I saw one video of this guy go down on a freeway. He got a death wobble at, you know, probably like 75, and he fought it. He did pretty good fighting it, but he ended up going down. And it was amazing because the guy, for the first like second and a half, 2 seconds of the bike being flat on the ground, he was able to be standing on top of the bike. So the bike's sliding down the freeway at like, now it's probably going more like 65, 70. And he's kind of standing on top of it. But the bike caught and threw him face first onto the freeway, on his face, sliding on his face at like 60 miles an hour. So that's why when the weather's cold, I kind of prefer, and I'm gonna be driving maybe long distance on freeway, I kind of prefer having that full face helmet. One, it's so warm, especially when you don't have a shield like me. And two, if you ever really did go down the freeway, it would keep your chin in place, hopefully, and it would keep your face from just getting literally destroyed. And it's not only going to keep you, according to that research, it's not only going to keep you having a pretty face in your casket, it's also going to keep you, there's a good chance of it keeping you from having brain injury, and it's going to have a good chance of keeping you alive. I mean, those are really some things to think about, because even if you go down on the freeway, there is a chance, if you're wearing good gear, that you're mainly going to slide. I mean, that could be an hour-long debate or more on that, so let's just leave that alone. So you got the option of no helmet. Within no helmet, what else do you have? You can have do-rags. I've even seen do-rags made out of leather, handkerchief, or just completely no helmet. You got the half helmet. With the half helmet, you got the people that really hate helmet laws and are only buying a half helmet to avoid getting a ticket. Now they're gonna use skid lids. They're the ones that are not DOT approved. They're about this thin, and they're plastic. And they're gonna offer almost no protection. But then you've got real half helmets. This is Bell. You know, that's a great company. It's thicker, it's DOT approved, and it's got this thing on the back that makes it fit very, very snugly. So having a helmet that fits right and fits snug is very important if you get in an accident. If your helmet's kind of loose, even just a little bit, they say the protection drops significantly. So you got no helmet, you got half helmets. You have 3/4 helmets. And the thing I like about this is it's going to offer lower protection here, more protection all around the ear, but with your face being fully exposed and not having that chin part, you do feel closer to the road, you do feel more out in the open. Yeah, it's still pretty much of a helmet, but you know, just not having that chin part, to me, changes the feeling quite a bit. And then, of course, full face helmet. So if you really go down the highway, it is going to protect your jaw better. I mean, I just hate to think about having your jaw destroyed so bad that you never have a normal profile again. You never look normal again. So once again, according to that research, it's not only going to keep you have a much 37% chance of living through the accident on the freeway, but also then a 67% chance of not having brain injury. So, you know, I mean, worst case scenario would be is you're kind of like, you know, really, really low functioning. You know, I mean, no one would want to be that way. Possibly be in a wheelchair the rest of your life and be cognitively delayed, seriously cognitively delayed. So, I live in California, so no helmet is not an option. If it was, I would do it periodically on warm days and just drive much slower. I always notice that the less gear I have, the slower I drive. It's a different experience. I'm enjoying more of the openness and the feeling of just being part of everything that's around me, which is so nice, especially if you're driving in a scenic area. So, you know, I like to mix it up. I'll wear those full face helmets in wintertime, or if I'm driving a long distance in the freeway. Summertime, I really enjoy the half helmet and maybe drive a little bit slower, but enjoy that being able to just talk to people and just smell all the smells and just really feel like I'm close to the bike and I'm close to the road and I'm close to everything that's in my environment. So, you know, I don't know what's the right decision because it's an individual decision. And even me, I feel kind of weird like, well, what if I have the worst accident of my life on one of those days when I'm only wearing a half helmet? You know, motorcycles are risky and there's risk involved. So, but I believe everything happens for a reason. And so I just put my trust in God and hope for the best. But there you have it, full face, 3/4, half helmet, no helmet. And Dunlop tire, 150. Now, I don't know if I mentioned already, because I had 2 previous attempts on this video and I ran out of storage on my phone. So I don't know if I mentioned already that they emailed me saying that we can put this on for $25. So that would be $175 to have a brand new Dunlop tire installed versus $375, $380 something. So you're talking about like almost half price. So there are a lot of little ways around, you know, paying through the nose at HD, $100. Because Harley Davidson, they're gonna get you for as much as they can. I like it to compare them to Apple. You know, Apple and Harley Davidson are just masters at finding every little way to get that extra nickel from you. They're always going to find little ways to get extra money from you. I mean, Harley quoted me $250 on that tire, but just 9 months ago I paid $209. So bam, that wasn't enough, $209. Oh, they're probably thinking, oh, no one will notice if we just bump it up to $250. Well, I noticed. I was like, that was an increase. And I went home and looked at my receipt from 9 months ago, and it was $41 cheaper 9 months ago. So $175 to have a brand new Dunlop tire installed versus $375 or $380. It's a big difference. So I hope this kind of gave you guys some ideas. Everyone knows kind of most of these things about helmets, but I don't think most people knew about that research about saying how 37% more likely to save your life and 67% more likely to keep you from having brain damage. So if you found that information useful, please hit the like button. If you know, you got something to say about helmets, you know, I hate full face helmets, or I never leave home without a full face helmet, let us know why you feel that way. And But be respectful to others, because this safety issue is a very personal issue. This is personal freedom, and we're in America, and you're allowed to pick and choose how much safety you want to have on a motorcycle, which is kind of nice versus a car. You know, cars, you have to have the seatbelt on, you have to have airbags, you know, you're going to have crumple zones, you know, so they decide all these safety issues for you on a motorcycle. We have the luxury of deciding ride for ride. I go ride for ride. What am I going to wear today? How much safety do I want? You know, in these conditions, with this weather, how much freeway driving am I going to be doing? And I can pick and choose every ride the level of safety that I want to employ. So everyone, enjoy your motorcycles, be safe, keep the rubber side down, and enjoy your motorcycles. Thank you.